Evening, Mike.
Evening.
Okay, looks like everybody's here that's going to be here. It's 5:32. So we'll call this meeting to order. First is, we have to go back to the March 11th draft minutes because we didn't approve them last meeting. Does anybody have anything to add or change to those? They look good to me, so.
And I apologize to people. I tried to send those minutes out last night and I didn't go back to the computer and I realized this morning they had not gone out.
You're a sinner. Thank you for getting it done, though.
Okay.
I think there may be a correction on Gina's name. I think it's G.
It's
Is that spelled right, Mike?
Greenalch. Yes, so that would be the correction for her last name, Gina Greenalch.
Yes, and both, well. Give me a
And the
second.
update,
Okay, how's it spelled?
Greenalch, I believe. Mike?
Yeah, I think that's correct.
Okay, once again, Mike?
Greenalch.
Okay. That's worth getting, right? Okay.
Anything else? So I move we approve the March 11, 2021 minutes with the correction of the spelling of Gina's last name.
So, or second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Now we move on to the minutes from April 1st. Anybody have anything to change on those?
I suspect we have the same names.
Same thing.
Yeah.
Besides that, along with that, I mean. Anything else? Well, then I move to, we approve those minutes with the correction of Gina Greenalch's last name spelling.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that's approved. Mr. Doherty, your turn.
All right. So we, based on your conversation with Gina, which was, I guess, somewhat surprising that she went backwards sort of from when I was having my somewhat argument with her, that we can do paving and it can be the same as the sidewalk for
They
the
would just,
snot.
they would just require a maintenance agreement.
Right. So to kind of go that route and show that we're, trying to be as compromising and accommodating as possible, we've looked at all the, places we could modify the sidewalk and create as wide a sidewalk, within reason. So we made all the sidewalks 6 feet wherever we can. Certain areas, outside the village center, we only had about 5 feet. So to gain that foot, if a sign does come in the future, we should be fine with providing a clear path of 4 feet minimum. So we've basically gone through the drawings and added that width wherever we needed to, which was basically north of the tracks, that entire stretch from the tracks down towards the Congregational Church. A little bit of tweaking of the edge, maybe about 6 inches at the former rail station on the south side of the tracks, and on the other side of the road where the dentist office is and the jewelry store, a little bit of tweaking to that width. And then the The library side was already wide at the diner and all that. That's all wide enough. The opposite side of the road, we again tweaked that about 6 inches to a foot in some areas. Going all the way around the corner past the St. Andrew's Church and onto Bridge Street, and then continued on Bridge Street, basically on both sides of Bridge Street, I think, making it all 6 feet.
You even did that in front of the cemetery?
Yeah, in front of the cemetery was actually almost 6 feet currently.
Okay.
So we've made it all consistent pretty much throughout all those areas that we've changed. In the other areas, we already had more than 6 feet or had 6 feet. So we didn't have to change those, but I would say it's probably about 70% of the streetscapes.
Okay. When I spoke to her 3 different times, she did say, and the third time I confirmed with her that this was not about a snow shelf. It was about future signage.
Right.
So a snow shelf was not part of that. She was not even a concern to her when I spoke with her that day. So,
Yeah, that was my understanding the last time I spoke to her too. We were calling it a snow shelf, but yeah, it was for future signage.
okay. Were you able to show them any kind of picture or a way that the signage that is currently there is working and not in the way?
So we're gonna include in our set the standard signage detail from DOT, which shows a sidewalk section, and it stipulates that you can have a 1 foot offset to the sign from the face of the curb, and as long as you're also providing the 4 foot of clear zone. So we're going to use that same detail, have it included in our set, and then we'll also have our own additional detail that just shows those clearances.
Good.
So when the contractor, if he installs a sign and it's outside of the parameters we show, he would have to, repair that.
Right. Well, I think that sounds like what she was looking for. And when we had that discussion, I told her that you would just provide everything that you were able to provide and wherever you were able to, to do it. So,
Yeah, so I think what I'd like to do is just submit the plans to the state with everything for the connectivity grant. And I would just summarize, in the email package, here's what we've done. We understood the concerns and we've provided additional width to the sidewalk, and the signage details are included for the contractor.
well, I think that's fine. Do we need to vote on that or just send it in?
Well, the contingent is, do we have the easements? Because that's part of it. They won't take it until we have all the easements.
So the only one we're waiting for now is Webster Bank. I understand that we should have that within the next couple of days.
Okay, well, that's good.
I got word today from Chris Garrity that we have from the Kent Barns, and I'm not sure what on Main Street it's called, but the old what used to be the Bass property we have those now.
Okay, that's all right. That's great, because I don't know if you recall. So the last schedule I gave, the end of this month, I had submit to the state with the grant package. So if we can still hit that, that would be fantastic.
Well, yes, it would. The sooner we can get it done, the better.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully Webster will step up and do their thing. So.
Yep. Yeah, and then there's just a few forms that have to get filled in for the grant.
Mm-hmm. Well, great. Barbara, or Mike, do you have any more? I'm sorry, Mike.
No, that's fine. I just got off the phone with Steve Curley from the state. He just emailed me a little marked up plan. I think, Mike, I talked to you about this because we didn't have a meeting, but I talked to you when you had the call with Gina. So the state would like us to keep our improvements back outside a certain area of the railroad. And this, from Steve Curley, he's pushing to get that work done earlier rather than later. I think that still means at least a year or two from now. I don't think it's something that's going to happen, in short order. But he would like it to be temporary asphalt improvements instead of us going full concrete, or if it is concrete, up to the rail itself, so that they can just easily cut, and then they would install whatever improvements to match our project.
Well, I think that's, at least we're going somewhere with them, and we know where
Yeah.
we stand, and it's not gonna hold us up.
Right. Now, I guess the biggest chunk they want not to be installed is from at the Fife, where those two little pull-off spaces, it's a little gravel
Yeah.
parking spaces. They don't want us going beyond those towards Johnson Ave, because he has concerns with that whole area, because there's a number of utilities, there's an overhead pole and wires, and the arms are going to have to be replaced because they're too antiquated for them to reuse. So he had a real concern with that, since there is no sidewalk there. He didn't want new sidewalk even temporarily being put in there.
So nothing at all, or from the crosswalk to that parking area, or?
Unfortunately, yeah, he didn't want to see any improvement from that parking space to the edge of the road. So it would be like it is today. You kind of have a gap.
Okay, so the sidewalk could be done from that parking area up to where we propose crosswalk is going.
Right. Yeah.
So in front of the building, the sidewalk could be done.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah. So we have to tweak our plan. If you guys are in agreement with that, and I could send you his marked up plan.
what?
Well,
That we would have
that's,
to change.
that's
I think
kind of
that-
bizarre to do a little bit, but not down to the railroad tracks.
Well, I think the crosswalk should go in anyways. Well,
Yeah.
if we have permission to do it, I think it should get done. And if you're gonna do the crosswalk, I would do whatever sidewalk we could get done as well, and then it's just that little section.
Yeah.
Rick, Ed, what do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean,
I
they're
agree.
gonna, if they're changing the crossing arms, I'm sure they're gonna put the small arms for the crosswalks too. I mean, for the sidewalks, but
Yeah.
so we don't have any idea where they'll be going yet.
Ed?
No, I agree with that. That sounds good.
So we should do what we can do and then worry about the rest later. John?
I will not repeat this, but it sounds like the sidewalk to nowhere. It's what it will be called, but okay.
Well, it does. I think part of this was connecting the west side to the east side.
Oh, I definitely like the crosswalk, yeah.
I think the crosswalk should go in, and I think that if you're gonna do the crosswalk, you should at least get what sidewalk you can in, because that whole area around the railroad tracks is either gonna be temporary or added on later, so it could all be done at the same time. So it's not like you're gonna add that later and that's it. So there's more, it's more than just adding that, it's repairing everything around the tracks. So I would think that if you're gonna, let's get as much done as we can get done.
Okay. Mike Gobble, your email mentioned outside dining in the right of way. Is that
Well,
the Fife you were thinking of?
Yeah, when I was on the phone with Gina Grenache, when we were discussing the maintenance agreement, she mentioned that she noticed tables that are on the sidewalks, which happen to be on state property. And I didn't clarify with her, but the way I took it was that was keeping the sidewalks clear for pedestrians, which is what they're for,
Right.
would be part of that maintenance agreement. So anyone who has tables on the sidewalks or on the state property, which is again, the sidewalks, I think that would have to come to an end.
Is anyone doing that now?
The fife and drum.
I looked at the maps. I couldn't tell where the property line is.
The property line's only
In
like
front of the
18
fife.
inches in front of the building there.
Yeah.
Okay, I couldn't see that on the map. Okay.
And I don't want to just single that particular establishment out. If you guys know of anyone else, I know the Villager has tables, but it's back on, I think, their property. I know Giffords is on their own property.
Right.
I don't know of anyone else that she would be thinking of. So
Yeah. Okay.
she's the one she brought it up during that discussion. So
Yeah.
I just thought I'd pass it along.
Yep.
And again, apparently that might be part of the maintenance agreement and keeping the sidewalks clear.
Okay, and Mike Doherty, when I spoke with the library, I don't know, last year sometime, they actually preferred to narrow the sidewalk down a little bit from where it is.
Yep.
So you're gonna make it 6 feet, but not all the way to where it is now.
There,
Is that
we
right?
took some of their sidewalk away
Right.
back then, but we didn't make it as narrow as 6, I don't think there.
Okay.
Because they had probably, I think, close to 10.
Right. And I think they would reclaim as much as they can.
Yeah, so we took it to the property line.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So from the face of curb, they have 8 feet of walk in front of their establishment library. So yeah, the planting bed there becomes just over 4 feet wide. I think right now it's barely, probably 1.5, probably 18 inches wide.
Yep. All right.
Okay. Anything else, Mike?
No, I think that covers it.
Barbara, I'm guessing you have some kind of an update for us.
For the TAP grant?
Yeah, do you or?
Well, the time frame to accept RFQs has ended. We only got 2 submissions, so that streamlines our process a little bit. The next step for us is going to be interviews with the 2 firms. And once we conduct the interviews, then we have to submit the information back to that other firm, and then we get the go-ahead to pick from that point on.
I'm assuming Mr. Doherty's firm would be one of them. Well, that's good. So how much longer do you think that might take?
We were told that we had to give the firms 3 weeks from the time that the RFQ submission ended before we could ask for interview dates, right, Rick?
Yeah, I think Gene asked me today about calling them just to set up dates out a couple weeks out.
So
Well,
we're
that's-
gonna adhere to
well,
the
that's good.
timeline to the best of our ability and then move it as long as fast as we can.
Well, that's great. It sounds like it's going to move along pretty quickly then. That's good. Hopefully we can get the first part underway pretty soon now. Again, that easement from Webster does sound like it's in the works actually more than it has been. So I understand it's on the table waiting for the pen to hit it. So, which is good. I don't really have anything else to add myself. Ed, Rick, John?
I don't know.
No, I don't have anything. Sounds good. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay.
Don't think so.
So assuming we get that other easement this week, Mike, then you would be submitting the plans. Is there anything we would have to meet about next week concerning that or?
So yeah, I would probably need next week to finalize everything because we have to now update all our estimate numbers. The sidewalk sections are growing slightly. But I do need some signatures from the town on the forms. Well, I guess the town needs the signatures. Once I give you guys all the documents, the town would be submitting it. Unless they ask me to, I can certainly send everything over. But there are a couple forms that need signatures.
Mhm. And you're gonna send those directly to the Board of Selectmen, I'm sure, right?
Yeah, whoever, yeah, I could send them to this
Well,
group.
Unfortunately, we don't have the power.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah, I'll copy everybody on them.
Okay, all right, so,
Is that the town would have to submit the full set of plans or just these documents?
I mean, so the grant only covers a certain area, but to kind of peel it out on its own is more, I think, of a hassle than just submitting the entire set. And we'll highlight the area that's under the grant, but we'll just let them have the whole full set.
Right, but either the town needs to submit them itself or authorize you to submit them. Is that
Right.
Is that what you said? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, yep. Yeah, because there's a package checklist that they want to make sure everything, that there's like 2 or 3 forms, and then the plans, the estimate, and the project manual.
So you will be asking the town to sign those forms? Or you'll be submitting forms for the town to sign, authorizing
them,
you?
yeah.
Is that the way?
So our engineer has to sign it, and I believe either Rick or the first selectman would have to sign it. There's some town entity has to sign one of the forms.
Okay,
So I've had them filled in as much as I can, and I could forward them over. I think Barbara, we still need to finalize a few things in terms of just dates in the project manual. I don't know if they're that really concerned with that in the review. But yeah, I think basically I'll compile everything and send it to the town, and then if they want me to then send it again out to the Anna Bergeron, I can do that.
okay. I'm just hoping it doesn't get stuck in the selectman's office for a couple of weeks.
We
It
won't
won't.
let that happen.
Okay, good.
no, we won't.
I guess there was one other thing I did. I don't know, Barbara, I sent an email earlier about the grants, because I was going back through my notes from previous meetings we've had,
Mhm.
just to double check a few things. So I did want to make sure, because our drawings right now are saying concrete sidewalks with an alternate for bituminous sidewalks. And I went through my notes and I had a couple of items that said that the grants were written without the mention of the asphalt sidewalks, and that one of the grants did not allow for the asphalt sidewalks. So
Correct.
is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
What grant didn't allow for it?
Thought it was
Uh,
the Main Street.
yeah, I think the Main Street grant.
But I didn't see anywhere where it didn't allow for it. I saw where they were applied for as concrete, but I didn't see anywhere where it wasn't allowed to
Well,
go to.
The grants were awarded based on what was applied for. So we applied with this specific criteria, so that's what the grants were awarded on.
So in terms of our packaging and finalizing everything, I just need to know, is the alternate a viable alternate? Is it actually allowed? Because I don't want to, make the documents and then have that not actually be something that is allowed under the grant, or that they would reimburse the town for. And because it affects basically everything from our bid form all the way through our drawings.
Yeah.
Um,
Rick,
So
you
I-
can weigh in on this too, but from my perspective, I don't think it's allowed. I think we have to go with what was requested when we wrote the grants.
Well, I remember talking to the people concerning the grants when I was on the committee that actually didn't do anything. And I remember them saying that it didn't matter to them. Because I did talk to people from each grant back then. So I didn't get it in writing, but as long as it conformed to ADA, they were okay with it, is what I was told. So is there a way we can contact somebody and ask the question?
You'd have to ask whoever's going to administer the grants, but if it's just on paper, at least that, I mean, that would give us an option. I'm sure we're gonna have plenty of money, unless Mike thinks the estimates have gone up a lot, but
No, I don't, yeah, I don't think it's gonna come down to the budget.
Everything else on the planet is doubled in costs there. Everything.
That's true.
I've also been wondering that since the town vote to approve the bonding was based on concrete.
It was.
I've been
I don't
wondering.
know, I was there, I don't recall that. I recall it still being a question. I think I'm pretty much someone who helped get that voted in. And the only reason I helped get it voted in was because it was still in question.
I thought it was based on a written
It was based on,
motion. That either
the
specified.
application was read. It was based on the application. It was not based on the fact that it had to be concrete because I talked to people and I was told differently by people who did the grants. And I was there, and Barbara, you turned around and thanked me for convincing people or helping to convince people to go along with this, because I mentioned other times when I have given prices and the money wasn't appropriated and I wasted a bunch of time pricing things. I don't know if you remember that, but I remember that. Now, the only reason I pushed it was because there was the option.
I'd have to look at the funding resolution. I don't have it in front of me to answer John's question.
Well,
I don't have it in front of me.
again, one of the reasons I'm still sitting here is because it was still an option.
Do you have the funding resolution handy?
I do not know. I have a stack of papers a foot high for the two committees I've been on, and I do not have that handy, no.
I don't think I have it handy.
I mean, all it was to appropriate the funds for the sidewalk, and that all the money didn't have to be spent, which was another thing that was said that night. Because people didn't want to spend that much money, so the money was appropriated because it had to be. But a lot of people went along with it because it didn't have to be spent. All of it.
I think it was based on a specific proposal to fund a specific proposal from the first committee. I may be wrong.
Well, again,
But yeah.
the requirement wasn't there. The application was read, not the requirements. And the requirements are for ADA compliant. That's my understanding of it, and that's my recollection of it.
Well, can't answer it tonight.
And that's fine. I just, I do need to know if that's gonna change.
Yeah.
Well, I would certainly like to talk to the people again and maybe get it in writing, which way it has to be. But I'm not making it up. I'm not a liar like someone wrote a letter saying I was. Not you, someone else in town.
rolls off your back, Mike.
These are my recollections of everything.
Yeah.
So if I would love to get a hold of whoever handles the grants. I know, Barbara, you did the applications, and I know the applications say concrete and granite. But I also was told that as long as it was ADA compliant, they weren't concerned. And until this goes out to bid, and this has been all along, I thought this was out in the open both ways.
I can't answer that today from
I'm
here.
not, no, I'm just,
Yeah.
is there a way that I can talk to the grant people?
I don't know.
Is there a way Mike Doherty can talk to the grant people?
Mike, how much in the project manual or whatever, would it just be a bid item, or do we have to give them specs and all that now for if you're gonna change to asphalt?
Yeah, we were planning, so we've had it on the drawings. We've had the details. So yeah, we would have, it would conform to the state spec. So there's not a whole lot of, proprietary spec that we'd have to write. But it's just the information. It would direct the bidders that there is this alternate, that they have to bid it this way. So there's a base bid and a deduct alternate. So just the forms would look different if that comes out. And if we send it out, I'd hate to send it out and then have to change it during the bid, that's all. And then add 2 weeks so that people can modify their bids. And I could, when I just went back in my notes, maybe they're not accurate, but I had the question in my notes, so I figured I better ask it now before we finalize everything. So it's more just pulling things off the plans and the specs and the project manual. Because we've been planning for it, but I just want to make sure we're planning for the right thing. And I could be wrong. I thought it was the Main Street grant that said something about not asphalt, because they were mostly concerned with aesthetics. And I think the connectivity grant didn't stipulate either way, only that the pedestrian ramps had to be concrete.
That's been my understanding all along, that the only requirement for concrete was the ramps. And as far as aesthetics go, that's beauty is in the eye of the beholder, is it not?
Yeah, I'm
wanna live
saying
in-
I know for sure it's the Main Street.
I don't want to live in a concrete jungle.
So I just wanted to bring this up to get it finalized, because again, I just don't want to have something that has to get changed during bidding.
Okay, well, will I be able to get a hold of somebody?
I don't know who to contact.
I'm asking Barbara because she's the only one I think that might be able to answer this.
I'm in my home office, so tomorrow when I'm in Kent, I'll look at the documentation that I have and see what I can pull together. If there's a contact that'll give me that answer. I'm pretty sure I asked that question once already. I thought we'd already been down this road already, but
Yeah, well, I have too.
Yeah.
And that's what I've said all along.
Well,
Anyone
I
who knows me
apologize.
knows this. Anyone who knows the last 3 years that I've been volunteering here, that this has been a concern of mine. And anyone who's been paying attention knows that I've made the phone calls and I talk to people. Even Bruce Adams was surprised that I talked to. I don't even remember the name now because it's 3 years ago. So I will look up and I'll try and find them, because I want to end the bid. It doesn't mean that the decision's going to be made, because I don't have that right to make that decision. but I want it in the bid. This is what I've been here for all along. Besides getting this, trying to get this thing done after however many years people have been talking about it.
And so, yeah, I mean, if I bring this up and it was already a done deal, then sorry for wasting everyone's time. So
Oh, yeah,
as long as someone could just
I thought it
confirm
was
that
a done
it's,
deal too.
if we could just confirm that, then we won't have to take things out. Just want to make sure we're on the right page.
Okay. Then I
Just so
guess
if I could say, Mike, just so if I can say something quick, I thought we read it off at the hearing that it was to be bid for both, to be honest with you. But like you said, we don't know what the grant said. I don't know what the grant actually said when it got written, so I will
Well, it's
agree with you. At the meeting, I thought we agreed to both, when we went out to bid, it would be bid for both. I will say that, so.
well, that's been my understanding all along as well.
And that's what mine was also, but I can't tell you about what the grant actually, how that got written, because I don't know, so.
What?
I think that was Ed's radio.
Yeah.
Oh. Well, then I guess we'll have to hold off on a meeting until we can figure this out. And we'll have a meeting to let everybody know. Mike, I think you need to leave it in for now. And,
That's fine.
you know. And I want to see it, because again, it's been my understanding all along. And I'm not changing my mind about that. But you guys can outvote me if you wish.
So I did find a copy of the resolution, and that doesn't speak to it either way. So I don't think it's a concern from that perspective.
Okay.
Because it just says, as determined by the Board of Selectmen, blah, blah, blah. Including sidewalk and curbing, blah, 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 but doesn't mention material.
Okay.
Okay, I guess, right, so I get just thinking about this. Right now, we've had it as a deduct. Has the town done, I mean, I guess you guys haven't had this kind of project. Just trying to think, is it easier to do it as the base bid and have an add alternate? Where, because we have to determine what's the basis of award. Is it the lowest price on the base bid or the lowest price on the total bid? And you can't do lowest price on the total bid if it's a deduct. I don't think that won't really work.
The total bid's gonna be however they choose to bid it, right? They're either gonna bid the concrete and granite or blacktop and granite, right?
Right,
If they
well, I
did
guess
both.
it's the way, yeah, so I guess it's just in the wording of it, and this gets into like legal stuff and stuff kind of beyond me, but I know towns have done it where it's, based on the option the town decides, and that's what it's gonna be based, so if the town decides asphalt, it's on your asphalt bid prices, if it's concrete, it's on your concrete bid prices. That's just the type of stuff, the wording has to be clear so the bidder knows how it's actually getting awarded. So we can work that out.
So bid forms you're putting out that they were gonna be like not sections or anything.
It's
Were they coming
unit,
back price per foot, or were they coming
Unit.
back price for the total?
it's everything's per unit, it's a unit price, and then a total based on all of your unit prices. So it's not a lump sum, it's not just one big sum, it's broken out, your curbing's broken out, your base material, your asphalt.
Was it gonna be as measured in field or anything like that, or just,
Yeah, yep.
okay, so if we get prices back per foot both ways, then we're covered on that, right?
Yeah, no, you'll be covered. I probably didn't need to bring this up. It's just a matter of wording.
Yeah.
When you have alternates, just making sure that it's clear that no one could say, I bid this job one way thinking it was going to get awarded that way, and now you're telling me differently, so then they can test it. But I'll get the language and then I could send it out
Okay.
for you guys to review.
Okay. Anyone else have anything to add?
Nope.
No, not tonight.
Think we need to meet next week, or do you want to go 2 weeks from now? Mike, you said you needed the week to get things in order anyways, right?
Yeah, I think we'll take up next week, just finalizing everything.
Okay, so we'll meet again in 2 weeks.
Sure.
Sounds good. That's the 6th.
Same time. That work
Yep.
for you guys?
Yep.
Everybody good with that?
Yes.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. I guess we're done until next time.
Okay.
Take care, everybody. Thank
All
you.
right.
Good night.